Hello everyone, and welcome to my collaboration with Rain. A little while ago we started talking about how we might have chosen differently when it came to our Aqua and Muse subunits. While my original Aqua subunits are very near and dear to my heart, there are some other combinations that I think are really intriguing. And I do of course have my alternate Aqua subunits as well, but there is definitely something that is very satisfying about breaking a group of 9 down into the traditional 3 trio setup. Trios hit that sweet spot where they're a little more interesting than a duo, but a little less chaotic than a quartet. Rain felt the same way about Muse, so between the two of us we decided to do a collaboration where I introduced Aqua secondary fan subunits, and Rain introduces Muse secondary fan subunits. And just to clarify, because I'm sure some people will ask, I definitely will not be introducing any Muse secondary fan subunits in the future. I'm very happy with my Muse subunits just the way they are, and I don't really feel like I need any more. On the other hand, Aqua is my favorite group, so it just made sense for me to do secondary units for them. And because of that, these Aqua units are the only secondary fan subunits that I plan to have. So if you love Muse, then please make sure you head over to Rain's channel to see the unveiling of her Muse secondary units in a little while. During the course of this extra special video, I will introduce my secondary fan subunits, name them, show off the logos I've designed for them, and give you a chance to hear what they all sound like. I'll also talk a little bit about how I settled on bringing them together as units. Aqua has a lot of really great combinations, but I do have my reasons for choosing these units. So now, without further ado, my Aqua's secondary fan subunits. My first subunit that we'll talk about is a unit comprised of Chika Takami, Kanan Matsuura, and Yoshiko Tsushima. I've used this trio a few times before, and I've always found that their sound was very pleasing to the ear no matter what song they were used in. Yoshiko's deeper voice complements Kanan's smooth lower tones perfectly, with Chika's powerful voice brightening up and sweetening their sound. This has always been a unit at the back of my mind, and one that I toyed around with when making my original Aqua subunits. When I decided to make secondary units, this was the very first unit that came to my mind. For this video, I decided to narrow it down to 3 songs that I feel could be on their first album. Those songs are Brightest Melody, Dreamy Color, and Ruteshi Kisuki Shiteru. This unit has a little bit of a mystical vibe to it, with their warm voices capable of ensnaring any heart that listens to their music. That is reflected in their costumes, which have musical notes sprinkled here and there. Their subunit name is Calliope. Even though this was the first unit I thought of, it was actually the last unit I ended up naming. I ended up looking into mythology and came across the muse Calliope. In Greek mythology, Calliope is loosely known as the goddess of music, song, dance, and epic poetry, which seemed like a great fit for this trio. I like the sound of the name given that Chika is the one who writes almost all of Aqua's lyrics. Additionally, the very first group in Love Live was named Muse, and I really like the idea that this subunit would then name themselves after a specific muse as a secret little nod to the group that came before them. Their logo is a blend of all their image colors, starting with Kanan's turquoise, then Chika's orange, then Yoshiko's gray. The logo has been stylized with an orange pen writing it out, as though capturing the moment in time when Chika herself first wrote out their subunit name. And as I'm sure you've guessed, Chika is the leader of the subunit. Their subunit image color will be a golden orange because Calliope the Muse is often depicted wearing a golden crown, and I think it suits their warm, strong vibe. My second subunit that I want to talk about is a unit comprised of Riko Sakurauchi, Mari Ohara, and Kurosawa. The idea for this subunit came to me in a few different ways. Firstly, I really like all the duos in this trio. Riko and Mari, Riko and Ruby, and Mari and Ruby are all great duos, which usually means that the trio will be pretty sensational. Secondly, I was inspired by these two pieces of artwork that I found that depicts all three girls having fun with makeup. Riko's is from Love Live All-Stars, and Mari's and Ruby's was, I think, meant for merchandise purposes. This artwork gave me the idea for a subunit that was a little silly, a little girly, and a lot of fun. Keeping it to the same three songs that I feel could be on their first album, I've chosen Matate Ai no Uta, Sakura Saku Kokoro Saku, and Oh Love and Peace. As I mentioned, this unit has a fun, flirty, cute vibe to it, so it would have been easy to stick to songs that fit that vibe, but I also tried to pick songs that could show their considerable range. Their costumes are sweet and flowery, reflecting both their sweet nature as well as their subunit name. Speaking of names, their subunit name is Sakura Line. I knew that I wanted to use the word Sakura in their name, which is Japanese for cherry blossoms, but using just the word Sakura seemed a little bland for the name of such a cute unit. So I went looking and came across the fact that pink quartz is also known as hyaline quartz. I obviously couldn't use the word quartz because of Niji, but I decided to use the word hyaline, so I ended up combining Sakura and hyaline into Sakura Line. There's also a cosmetics line called Maybelline. While the words are pronounced differently, I like the idea of having a little nod to makeup right there in their name. Their logo includes all of their image colors in the three Sakura flowers, starting with Mari's purple, then Riko's paler pink, then Ruby's deeper pink. Because their subunit name is a little long, I chose to curve it over the flowers so that it wouldn't take up as much space, and then I gave it a matte pinkish red color. Again, as I'm sure you have guessed, Riko is the leader of this unit. It's past time that I gave my second best aqua girl a chance to shine. I really tried my hardest to make this unit feel as much like Riko as possible. Their subunit image color is the same pinkish red color from the subunit name. I like to think of it as all three of their image colors mixed together to form one warm color for a cohesive unit. That leaves us with our final unit, which is a unit comprised of Hanamaru Kunikida, Dia Kurosawa, and Yo Watanabe. You might be making a face right now thinking that this is an odd unit, but they sound really good together. In earlier songs, Yo's old voice blends seamlessly with Dia and Hanamaru. In newer songs, Dia and Hanamaru both act as a kind of support to Yo's voice to lift her up to new heights. Additionally, like many fans, I was introduced to Yo and Dia as a duo in Kimi no Hitomi o Meguru Boken, and I've liked their sound together ever since. Yo and Hanamaru as a duo, and Dia and Hanamaru as a duo also work incredibly well. I've used all three duos before in mixes, and I really feel like this is a trio that the fandom has been sleeping on. Again, I picked out 3 songs that I feel could be on their first album. Those songs are Thank You Friends, A and Friends, and Love You My Friends. Sensing a theme here, this unit is all about friendship. When I thought about what these 3 had in common, the answer was the profound love they have for their friends. So it only made sense to me to follow through with that for the songs on their album. Their edits are a tiny bit more random, I'll admit, but I basically wanted to capture 3 friends having a fun day out together. Their subunit name is Dovera. I really want something different for them rather than turning to flowers, especially since Dia and Hanamaru are canonically a part of Azalea. Well, after quite a lot of searching, I stumbled across birds. It turns out that birds can also symbolize things, and it just so happens that the dove is known as a symbol of friendship, loyalty, and peace, which I think fits the subunit really well. But again, I just felt like the name dove wasn't really interesting enough. So I experimented with adding a few different endings to the word dove, until I came up with Dovera. I thought that it fits much better as a subunit name for them, as it flows really nicely off the tongue and looks good written down. Their logo is another friendship symbol, which really just drives the point home. It's an infinity symbol, which is perfect to signify eternal friendship, but I chose to use a version which include a heart just because I think it looks a lot cuter that way. Their subunit name is written across the infinity symbol in a deep plum color. The leader of this unit is Hanamaru Kunikida, because it's also time to give my third best aqua girl a chance to shine, but also because no one loves her friends more than Hanamaru does. And also, I don't feel like we see Hanamaru as a leader very much in fan subunits, so it's always nice to do something a little unexpected. Their subunit color is the plum color that their name is written in. This concludes the introduction of my secondary fan subunits, but of course, it's not the end. As I mentioned at the beginning of the video, make sure you head over to Rain's channel to check out her Muse secondary fan subunits too. And of course, I'll be doing lots of mixes with my new units. Keep an eye out over the next 3 days as I do a different trio mix for each unit to fully introduce their sound. And later in the month, I'll have group center mixes out for each unit as well. But for now, please feel free to leave a comment below to let me know what you thought of my choices. Thanks for watching, everyone!